Welcome, Central Indiana sports fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for another edition of Greg versus Will versus the World. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt. My co-host, Will Retherford, will be here in just a second. So I had an idea. Will and I like to debate sports. Why not put our money where our mouth is? So we created a new format, a debate and prediction show. It's 4 questions a week. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. When we disagree, there are points on the line. And so far, the score is Will 3, Greg 0. Will scored 2 points last week as the Kings made the playoffs as he predicted. And Scott E. Scheffler, his pick to win the Masters, finished higher than mine. John Rahm. Scheffler was second. Rahm was 38th, and I'm really disappointed that I'm down 3-0. But there are 2 points on the line tonight, Friday. We predicted which team would miss the Eastern Conference playoffs. Will predicted the 76ers would miss it. They are already in. I predicted the Magic would miss the playoffs. If they lose to Charlotte at home tonight, I get 2 points and I'll pull within a point. There are 5 other points on the line that'll be determined later down the line. And that's probably enough of an explanation. I think people will get it, and feel free to follow along. Welcome, Will.
Thank you. You are probably going to get lucky with the Magic.
I think so. The Hornets are definitely better. It is at Orlando. I think the best player on the court is Paolo Banchero, so the Magic have a chance, but the Hornets are just a better team right now.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to it.
I guess we'll get to that. All right, Will, first question. Who will win tonight? The Golden State Warriors or the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix? And all the metrics on this one say that the Suns are going to win this game, Will. They're at home. They have the ability to run the Warriors off the court. There's no doubt about it. But I'm going to take Steph Curry and Draymond Green and the experienced Warriors in the situation. I have this gut feeling it's either going to be Phoenix by 25 or the Warriors in a close one. But I'll take the Warriors in a close one. Something to watch is how much Curry's able to get room against Jordan Goodwin and Dillon Brooks, who just like to hound him. They love to hound him. You know about Steph Curry and Dillon Brooks, and it goes back not just to the Warriors and Suns. It goes back to even the Warriors and Rockets. And I know Steph Curry loves beating Dillon Brooks. And give me the Warriors.
I think if Curry was not on a minutes restriction, I'd probably agree with you, but I don't think he's right. And
scored 35 on Wednesday.
I know, but I think they overachieved.
Oh, they've definitely overachieved.
And I don't think they were really supposed to beat the Clippers.
No.
They're kind of playing with house money at this point. I don't think Draymond Green's going to be as effective defensively as he was. You saw him in that fourth quarter against Kawhi. That was old Draymond Green. But Draymond Green is old now, and he just is not going to be able to have that impact on the game the way that he did on Wednesday night against the Clippers again.
His defense will always have an impact.
He's what? How old is he now? 36, 37? I doubt he's feeling great after having to go that fourth quarter with Kawhi. I think that's
just one game.
It's one game, and that's why
so go home.
It happened, and they have a championship pedigree, but it's not. The Suns are a better team, and the Suns are at home. I think when in doubt in these playing games, I'm going to go with the home team.
You're absolutely right. The Suns are the better team. The Suns are at home. I like the experience, and I love Steph Curry. I believe in Curry magic. I think he's the best player of his generation, better than LeBron James. I'm just going to say
I think he's the most impactful basketball player probably outside of Michael Jordan ever.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, that level. Yeah, I agree.
I'm obviously not old enough to really remember, anything other than this generation of basketball player. But what he's done in terms of shooting, every gym you walk into now in the country, there's some, great shooter that is all inspired by Steph Curry. He did that. And yeah, there's no debate. He is, I think a GOAT. I think more of a GOAT than LeBron. But I think every once in a while the GOAT gets taken out to the barn too. This has been a rough year for him. I think he's got one more run left to a finals appearance, but it's not this year. Definitely not. And
Why not this year?
I think the trips to Cancun or Cabo can probably get booked comfortably after the season.
You see the Thunder out there next, and you're like, maybe I don't want to.
Maybe it's better if I go home.
1 point on the line, I have the Warriors, Will, the Suns, and we will know tonight. Question number 2, who will win more first-round games? The Philadelphia 76ers against the Boston Celtics or the Portland Trail Blazers against the San Antonio Spurs?
Well, I think it's probably going to be the Sixers because I think the Spurs are going to sweep the Blazers. Honestly, I think both of these series could end up in sweeps.
Definitely end up being 0 points in this one. We could both be right on this one.
And I don't think the Sixers are going to win 2 games. I think they maybe get 1, and it's a 4-1. Celtics win it in 5. I really like the way that the Celtics have adapted to Tatum coming back, and that sounds silly when you kind of lose your superstar, that they've adapted, but they were equally as good without him as they were. They were really good.
They were good.
They were really good.
They weren't a contender with it.
Going to be a 50-plus win team if he never came back, And the evolution, I think, of Jaylen Brown really being like the guy. I know that's been a debate we've had on this show for a few years, and I think now, to me, it's pretty clear. I think Jaylen Brown is the guy in Boston.
At least for this year.
Yeah, and Tatum's kind of playing second fiddle. I love their depth. I love, their ability to bring Pritchard off the bench at start if he needs to, if somebody's down. The Celtics team feels like they might be the best team in the East, even though they're the 2 seed. So I expect them to take care of business. I don't think the Blazers have an answer for Wembanyama at all. I still think he's probably going to play 25 minutes a night, and he'll still average 35 in the series, and they'll sweep them comfortably.
I'm sure most of our listeners have not watched a whole lot of Portland Trail Blazers this year. I hadn't watched a full game of theirs until Tuesday night. But this team is pretty good, Will. And they can be really good on, given nights, I think. And I think they can push San Antonio, probably not to the brink. I think we're talking 1 win, maybe 2. But I also think the Spurs are capable of bad performances. They're a young team as well. I know how impressive Wembanyama is, but I think they're one of those teams that could win a series and still have a couple bad games inside of the series. Have you seen Denny Advia lately?
He's great.
He's
He's great.
I hadn't seen a whole lot of him. I'd seen the numbers. He passes the eye test too. He is a legit number 2 guy on a good team. I don't think the Blazers are a good team. I'm not saying that they're going to win a series or even come close to winning this, but their defense is pretty good. Their rebounding is pretty elite. And the other thing, Will, is I don't think the Sixers have a chance to win a single game against them.
I'm curious to see if San Antonio wants to saddle Castle up with Arbia. That's kind of if that's the matchup, I don't think that's not a matchup you want. Stephon Castle, that's a hell of a defender.
I know. Advia is a hell of an offensive player. He's got all the tools, man.
I don't think the Blazers have that 5 that's going to pull Wemby out to really dominate the paint. The Blazers are just going to get overwhelmed. I think this is like one of those class differences where even the Spurs' bad game is still a 5-point win. They pull it out with 3 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. That's just the feel to me. But
man, you get a game from Advia, you get a game from Scoot Henderson and Shaden Sharp, and they're capable of running with anybody. I think they can win at least 1, maybe 2. All right, well, question number 3, and I'm going to start on this one. Who is going to win the East? And we just talked about them, the Boston Celtics. I don't think it's going to be close, Will. Fairly easy. It wouldn't shock me if the Knicks upset the Celtics, if the Celtics had an injury or something. But I don't really think anybody else can beat them. Unless Cade Cunningham really takes another playoff level leap, and he might be capable of doing that, but I doubt it. And as you said last year, I think the Pacers just snatched the soul of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't think they're winning anything either. I think if they lose more than 4 games in the Eastern playoffs, I'll be surprised.
I'm with you completely. The Celtics are also my pick to win the East. I feel like Cade could perform really well. The issue is that the Celtics can run 3 elite perimeter defenders, and Derek White, Jaylen Brown, and Tatum. If somebody's tired, like Cunningham's going to struggle every night with just getting fresh bodies thrown at him. As good as he is, I really like the ability for Brown and Derek White to be two-way players in a series like this, where I think Azor Thompson, Duncan Robinson, like these are one-way guys. These are one-trick ponies. I don't think defensively you're going to get a whole lot from Duncan Robinson. Obviously, he can be lightning in a bottle off the bench shooting the three, and I don't always think Thompson's offense has matured the way that his defense, he came into the league, mature, grown man, NBA level defender. But the Pistons are a great story. I think it's similar to the Cavs last year. They're a regular season team, but they just don't have the experience yet for me to say, okay, this team is going to, be a team like the Celtics who's got so much playoff experience at this point in a 7-game series. I don't like the matchup. I think that is the matchup. I think it's 1-2, probably in the Eastern Conference Finals, but I think the Celtics win at 6.
All right, so no points for that one. 2 points for this one, Will. You go first. Who's going to win the West?
The Spurs. Wembanyama is plus 50 when he plays against the Thunder. He's averaged 25 minutes a game in their matchups over the entire course of the year. SGA in the same, amount of matchups is -1 with an average of 35 minutes played. I'm not a mathematician. That's a 51-point difference between your two stars. I just don't think the Thunder are going to be able to run with them. I really think that Wemby is like this level of caliber player where he's been doing this with 25 minutes. If we even get him to 35, I know you saw, that Nuggets game that they had a couple weeks ago went into overtime. That was like 141 to 139 type game, just super high scoring. And Wemby was visibly, I think, winded, frustrated a little bit with Jokic's ability to just kind of score on him, which obviously Victor's not terribly used to anybody getting 40 on him. But this Spurs team, I just really like their depth. I like the matchup. And I think when push comes to shove, if Wemby's able to give you 33 to 35 great minutes, we're talking about it's video game type numbers is what he'll put up in 35. It might be 40 and 15 a night. That's what he's going to be looking at. I don't think Chet defended the Pacers well last year, or particularly played well against the Pacers in the finals last year. He was really the reason the Pacers were still in that series. If Miles Turner had been worth any shits put together, I think that you're probably talking about Pacers are champions who have a chance at the number 1 pick. We can talk about that later, but I don't know. I like the vibe of the Spurs team. They play great at home too. So I think they get one in Oklahoma City, and I think they get all 3 at home.
First of all, Will, I'm predicting whoever wins the West wins it all. Maybe starting next year, maybe even as soon as next year. I think it's going to start to turn with the Pacers, Celtics, Pistons, Hawks, and Hornets all potentially still on the rise, right? But I think the West is just so wide open. It probably comes down to matchups and between Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Denver, maybe Minnesota. I think any of those 4 teams could come out of the West. I like the Thunder against the Nuggets. I like the Nuggets against the Spurs. I like the Spurs against the Thunder. I like the possibility of Minnesota over Denver in the first round. So I really think there are a lot of different possibilities. But what it comes down to me is Oklahoma City has the easiest path to the Western Conference Finals. So I'm going to take the Thunder, even though my heart wants to take Denver.
I mean, I don't think Denver can't win. I always worry about Aaron Gordon's health. Is he going to be able to play a full 7-game series?
I think they're one injury from not being very good all the time.
They are. And when they have injuries, they aren't very good.
Right.
That's why they're in this position where you look at, I mean, they're playing the 6th seed. Ants kind of had the Nuggets number. I kind of feel like that's going to switch a little bit. He was 8-3 in the 24 and then 24 and 25 season. I don't expect that run. There, once you have the gist on a player and you see them more, I think that an understanding of what they're able to do and who you're able to put on him to defend them. I think Jokic is the most unguardable player probably in modern NBA. He's got an answer offensively for anything that somebody throws at him. So I think it goes down this ladder. You talked about, the Wolves, the Nuggets, and the Spurs, and it's like the ladder of all three of those teams are going to have to play each other at some point. So it's, it kind of feels like an accordion in a way.
Thunder probably only has to play one of them.
Yeah. I guess your question is, what challenge do you see the Nuggets or the Wolves putting on the Spurs? Is it really that question? They're going to have to play a tough team.
The Nuggets could definitely beat the Spurs.
I think they probably could too. But is it even going to be the Nuggets?
I don't know.
Conversation.
And that's why I'm going with the Thunder.
I like your choice. I feel good about the Spurs, though. I just think that the numbers and the data suggest that if Wembanyama is playing enough in the Western Conference Finals, that the Thunder are going to be in a lot of trouble.
Aren't you glad we did an NBA-themed Will versus Greg versus the world, and the Lakers didn't come up one time?
Yeah, it's nice. It's unfortunate that we had
Till
to do
now.
one of these, that the Pacers didn't also really come up at all either, but
they'll be coming up a lot on this show. We'll be talking about
next year. Whoever wins it this year is just kind of keeping the seat warm.
Nice.
The 65-win Indiana Pacers are going to raise hell next year in the playoffs. So they've already snatched the soul. The Knicks, guess what, Greg? The Knicks haven't really looked like the team we saw going into that series against the Pacers last year this year. I can promise you that.
But they can.
The Pacers got a coach fired on a team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Fired.
Yeah, they snatch souls.
That's what they've done. They are the boogeyman of the NBA right now.
That Tyrese Halliburton shot that went up and came back down got a coach fired.
Yeah.
That series might go completely different.
Aaron Nesmith.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely just nuclear.
Oh, man. Well, thanks so much. Let's do it again next week.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to being proven right. I wish Scoot Scheffler could have pulled that out. But I guess good for Rory. It's funny, he had that whole thing where it's like, well, I'm playing like I've won the Masters, and everybody was like up in arms about, does it mean he cares now that he got his first green jacket? And then he goes out and does what he did. I mean, it's just what
Masters do.
And I think it is true. Once that monkey is off his back, like, he doesn't have to. There's no pressure to win a green jacket. He's already got one. Like, now you can go out and kind of be free. And I don't know how many more Rory has left in him of that, like, elite level of golf. I think
not much.
We're getting close to the end, which Scheffler might win like 5 in a row. He's that good. Yeah. We were talking on Thursday. He was just a calm and cool 3 under, went even on Friday, and then all of a sudden it's like Sunday, he's climbed his way up, second place, taking home a massive check, and
didn't play that well.
No,
for him,
he didn't. But that when you're bad to average, 4-day tournament is second place at Augusta National, I think you're probably where you want to be.
Well, thanks so much.
Will and I will be back next week to put 4 more points on the line with 4 more questions to debate. Thank you so much for listening. I think it's getting better and better, and I think we got ourselves something here. Thanks again. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.